So what are the legal tools for the fight against BDS?
So there's a lot more tools now than there were 2 years ago. In the past, slightly over 2 years, 2.5 years, 24 American states have adopted legislation barring the states from doing business with companies that boycott Israel. So that means if a company anywhere in the world boycotts Israel and then it wants to do business with this state, get a state contract, for example, they can't do so because the states have determined that boycotting Israel is a form of discrimination, that it's really a form of bigotry, like boycotting people because of their race or national origin. That has really changed the landscape in a very powerful way. We've also seen lawsuits being used, sometimes effectively, in the fight against BDS. A group of plaintiffs who I was involved with have sued the American Studies Association, which was the probably largest, even though it's quite small, academic organization to adopt an Israel boycott. And the plaintiffs are arguing that it violates the rules of that organization, the internal rules. And had an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal earlier this week about some of the materials that have emerged from this litigation. What's been discovered is that the leaders of the American Studies Association were boycott activists who ran for the leadership of the association in a pre-concerted conspiracy to push boycotts from inside the leadership. And they also agreed not to tell the membership that this is what they were going to do because they knew it wouldn't work. So I think shedding more light on how these things work and understanding that it's not coming from some kind of groundswell of anger at Israel. That is a false narrative. But rather that it is, say, conspiracy by a small group of well-organized people to foist an agenda on usually unwitting organizations.
Inside of Israel, can you pinpoint one or two major issues that you're dealing with right now, Kohelet?
We're dealing with a lot of issues. One of them, some of them are the major laws that have been passed or are being considered by the Knesset. For example, the Chok Hasdara, the Settlement Regulation Bill, which is being considered by the Supreme Court. We're very much of the view that it is entirely consistent with constitutional and international law, but the Supreme Court does not think that there's any definitive content to constitutional law, and they may take a different view. But we think this is a very simple and non-problematic bill using the power of eminent domain to compensate landholders for small parcels of land that need to be taken for other uses. Also the nation-state bill, which is a very important project. Many European countries have provisions in their constitution establishing themselves as the nation-state, establishing even national religions. Israel is the world's only Jewish country, but even in Israel, Judaism is not the official religion, and this law would not make it so, but it would make clear that Israel is the nation-state of the Jewish people, as the only nation-state of the Jewish people. That's a very important measure, and the Knesset is working on that right now.
So you disagree with those who see it as a racist measure?
Yeah.
Non-Jewish citizens of Israel feel uncomfortable?
So making people feel uncomfortable is not racist, because people decide whether to feel uncomfortable. No one thinks that the Estonian constitution is racist against Russians, because it says that Estonia is the nation-state of the Estonian people. So I think if people's feelings can make something unconstitutional, lots of things would be unconstitutional, but it is a completely standard law of the kind found in countries across the world, which simply says that the state is designed to fulfill the national self-determination aspirations of the Jewish people. There's nothing racist about that, and certainly nobody, yes, that's what I'll say.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.